What? We're learning that the Titan submarine implosion could have all been a charade. What's going on here? Hello, this is Charts GPT today. So we have a lot of stories on this. There seems to be this massive fascination with the Titanic, and as you probably know by now, the story has been all over the news about this OceanGate submarine that has evidently imploded at the bottom of the sea over 2 miles down. And of course, it's been a very tragic situation that we've been following this now since last Sunday till today. And of course, I think it's pretty given that the 5 people on board have perished. And of course, obviously, the condolences go out to the families on that. I guess here's with the CEO here on the far left, and there was a billionaire and his son was frightful to go, and he had reason to. So obviously, this is a kind of a tragic story. But you know, there's a twist to this that is starting to come out. First off, we have loads of international assets circling around the area here. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different ships. I think there's 3 or 4 aircrafts. Remember, early on, they thought they heard some pinging on the side, and they even got to the point where they had these various underwater robots that were going to go down there. And sure enough, finally one of them, I guess it was the Odyssey 6000, discovered the debris field, and it was pretty understood that they didn't survive, and the 5 perished in some kind of an implosion, a failure. And of course, there's more readout to go on this. But the story isn't really stops there. The conspiracy series comes out. Evidently, the U.S. Navy heard the noise, and maybe the noise they were reporting was coming from the U.S. Navy, and in fact, that was maybe the implosion they heard, and the theory is that they didn't report it, and so all these assets and people are running around thinking there was an hour left or 48 hours left of oxygen. Just simply they knew that was false, and they let the people go ahead and do all this searching when they knew very well that it already had imploded. So which begs the effort, why did they do that? Now the conspiracy comes out, and it first was revealed by the Wall Street Journal, and it must be clear, they said the Navy heard the explosions, but to say that there was some kind of nefarious activity may be going a step too far on the theory, but the narratives are still going on. So looking at the timeline here, we can see that vessel left at 8 a.m. like local time, and by 9:45, about an hour and 45 minutes later, they lost contact with the vehicle. So they did have sonar on there, but they lost contact, and that was probably the time when it imploded, because they just lost all contact. But nevertheless, people started searching, and you know the story with all these different apparatus and assets, and they're chasing against time, and they made a big media show out of it. We consulted the AI to see, well, just how dangerous this is. You can go over to the blog post and actually read that and AI analysis on that, and so it's obviously quite dangerous, which is quite interesting. That these folks were doing it on a kind of a shoestring budget, according to the reports, and so the CEO is getting a lot of flack for that. But some of the narratives that is coming out on this is the U.S. Navy may have hid the information to protect enemy knowledge of detection methods. Evidently, there's which we didn't know, but maybe some people did, but I didn't know, that there's all these microphones listening to potential enemy subs coming in on the east, probably on the west coast as well. So now maybe they were reluctant to talk about that, because now the enemies know that they have all these listening devices, which they may have not understood before. Evidently, they knew exactly where the debris field was. Still, other conspiracies get political. They think the Biden administration amplified the narrative and told the U.S. Navy to do this, and there's no evidence of this, of course, but to hide the bombshell hunter scenarios that were coming out. Still, the other could be just as it is, merely poor communication, and the narrative is pretty much stated. Maybe you have some other opinions. You can go over to the blog post and state yours, but it is interesting. I think this story is not over. Don't forget to subscribe.